Lore Dump.
Hello, and welcome to Lore Dump, the show where we take someone who hasn't played a game and we walk them through the full story. I am your host, Monty Zander, and I'm joined by Mr. Neil.
Hello.
And Chase.
I'm thirsty for coffee.
I'm glad we ran out of coffee earlier today.
We actually, while playing or reading through a game with a huge focus on coffee, we ran out of instant coffee.
Pretty mad.
It's funny because I don't drink coffee. I actually hate coffee.
It's actually really insensitive of you to bring it up then.
I'm not sorry. I hope that you're staying nice and awake.
I am.
So when the public release of this goes out, we'll be kind of hitting mid-November, which means I'll be a dad by that point, which is exciting.
Terrifying. Slightly morbid joke, Jesus.
You know what I mean? They're like, well, you might just still be in there. That's all, rather than anything else. So yeah, hopefully be a dad by that point. And but much more importantly than my son is Alan Wake 2 Lake House DLC will probably be out, which means that
I cannot wait to see the pictures of you with your son in your lap and a game controller in front of him playing Lake House.
Okay, so 1,000,000%. Actually, a friend of ours has been playing Alan Wake 2, and you've got all the jump scares in Alan Wake 2. My friend has been playing it with the baby, trying to put the baby down and stuff. So it's just while the baby's there on his chest, he's playing it, and he had to turn. There's now a assist where you can turn off the jump scares, and they had to turn off the jump scares because it kept making his heart too loud and waking up the baby. So I'm looking forward to those days. Yeah. So we're just going to get straight into it. I don't want to mess around with this. We left a lot. There wasn't much time given over to theorizing at the end of Alan Wake 2. Neil, you are a layman. There's every chance someone's just jumping in for Night Springs. Chase, you have played this expansion.
I have.
Yes. Before we kick off, Neil, quick overview thoughts. How do you feel about Alan Wake 2 right now?
Yeah. I really liked it. I might like it more than Alan Wake 1.
Agreed.
We just as a quick summary, we finally got Alan out of Alice Wake, who wasn't really dead. She fooled him, she'd fooled everyone to go into the dark place, to give him the motivation to finally ascend. He was in a loop of destruction. Everything would reset with death every time, and he appears to have left the dark place now. But now she's in there, Thor's in there, Odin's in there, and Jimmy's in there, Timmy's in there.
Yeah. I don't need you to worry about any of that for this.
What is this going to be?
It's going to be the TV show, probably. Night Springs. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
We heard there's a new season. I think, did you miss out that there is an ad for Night Springs in the base game?
No, I mentioned it. So I mentioned it here and I mentioned it in the base game. So yeah, it's teased a few times. It's Logan's favorite show, Saga's daughter.
Yeah.
There are posters strewn around the dark place, and Warlindor references that it was, quote, a nice distraction when he confronts Alan. He says, this and our Night Springs. It was a nice distraction.
There's also a TV advert for it.
Sorry, yes, with Dor. Yeah. There's a TV advert in the base game where Dor's like, new season of Night Springs coming soon, and I'm going to be your host.
Because Dor is the host of Night Springs.
I have, and it's basically Twilight Zone, isn't it?
It is Twilight Zone.
My biggest outstanding question there's a few minor ones, but I kind of, on a side note, I feel like I understand how this universe works now to an extent, so I don't have the same. Maybe you're smiling to yourself but I feel like I understand the logic behind the magic and to an extent. So my biggest mysteries are things like why is Thomas sane? Why is what is up with that?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And it's more of a proactive thing. It's like, right, okay, how do we get Alice out now?
Yes. Yeah. We'll talk about all that at the end because I've thought some theories on it, but I just want to make sure you have all the information so we can start openly theorizing and having fun with this. So, let's have a silly, goofy time. This is going to be just nothing but fun and bonkersness. So,
I'm suspicious.
This is Remedy Unleashed. It's so good.
It's so good.
So, Night Springs. It turns out that Warlindor is the new host of Night Springs, similar to how Rod Serling's role was in The Twilight Zone. With this DLC, we got 3 playable episodes, 3 failed escape attempts by Alan, featuring 3 playable characters. People that might look and sound like the characters we already know, but Remedy were incredibly clear that these are just echoes of those people. These are not the same people that we know and love. I'm not going to tell you who they are. I'm just going to tell you when their episodes come up. I'm not spoiling anything yet. So Warland Door, we get to episode 1. A fan, he says, and he flashes a white, warm smile. The dictionary definition of the word is enthusiast, an abbreviation of fanatic. To be a fan is a joyous existence, but what if you could be lifted out of the flock as your idol's chosen one, like when Sam Lake retweeted my critique? The only one who could decipher his secret messages.
Oh, I know who this is.
What lengths would you go to save the object of your obsession in Night Springs? Episode 1, Number 1 Fan, art by Samantha Saunders. This is art from my critique, Neil. You also haven't watched
This is beautiful.
it. Yeah, we've got one for each of them. They are stunning. So, the waitress, who looks like Rose Marigold.
But it's the waitress.
But it's just an echo.
The waitress or the fan, it's up to you how you want to refer to her, stands in the bathroom of Knight's Diner, checking her reflection. She sighs longingly as old, twinkling music like out of a 60s romance fades in. The colours pop, pinks and mints and sugary shades surround her. Life's a funny thing, she thinks. You spend all your time wishing and dreaming and hoping for something, and then BAM! Destiny shows up at your door like a mailman with a package you were pretty sure got lost because you ordered it like 6 months ago. For a second, her eye twitches and she shakes it off. But that's okay! When your destiny has eyes like sunsets and a beard like mahogany-coloured velvet, you don't really mind how it arrives. For a second, we catch a glimpse of who she's talking about. The writer. With a capital W. Who are we looking at here?
Well, it looks like kind of Game 1 outfit, Alan Wake, but with the, bit of a beard going on.
Yes, it's the writer. You can tell because of the elbow patches. There's currently a bit of a fan petition to get this outfit put in as a cosmetic for Alan Wake 2. It seems a bit silly. Like, they've got the model. It's there.
This is like Alan Wake 1.5.
Yeah.
Before he decided that he was too cool, too mature.
Got to wear my talk show suit all the time now. But the waitress's day didn't start off with all this excitement. Oh, no. As always, Knight's Diner is the hottest spot in town, so there's plenty of work to do. Everyone's here. The lady with 7 corgis, the gossipy girl from the bank, the guy with the concerning mole, and they're all chatting happily about all of the great work that the waitress is doing. She saved every single kitten from that bear attack. She single-handedly keeps the diner running. She's up for Best Waitress of the Year. What a marvel. How do you juggle all of this? The self-help book lady asks her. These are the names that come up for the subtitles. That's what the names are. The diner, the bird sanctuary, running that amazing fan site for the writer you love so much. Well, the waitress says, pouring her coffee, I work extremely hard, but also, I'm just naturally talented. The self-help book lady sighs and she goes, I'll never be as successful as you. The guy with the concerning mole calls her over and he goes, do you have any relationship advice? And she goes, if you don't have a jacket with elbow patches, buy one. Guy who's good with computers asks for a book recommendation and the waitress squeals. She's like, you have got to read the latest book in the writer's trilogy. I've got a copy in the back. Let me grab it. She heads into the storage closet and we see her shrine to the writer. And his Will Hurt crime books. Will Hurt. The only thing that hurts more than love is loving again. And then, like magic, the Bubba Swade's fish on the wall starts talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. No, fine.
Before I continue with this, just want to flag that this is in fact one of the dead letters from Control. One of the people writes in and is like, there's a talking fish on my wall and it won't shut up. Yeah. I think it's just fun, but whatever. So yeah, it's me, the fish gasps. Your favorite writer whose voice you could recognize in your sleep. I'm in danger. Please, my number 1 fan, you're the only one who could save me.
It's so stupid.
The fan knows what to... It's gonna get dumber. The fan knows what to do. She heads into the back, grabs her shotgun and hunting rifle, and prepares for war. She leaves... Yes?
Do you have a picture of the room?
The diner.
No, of specifically the war room.
No, I don't.
Because she goes into, like, the back of the kitchen, into, like, a secret closet, and it is just guns lining all the walls, fucking boxes on boxes of ammo. It looks like it's out of like a military compound.
Part of the marketing for Night Springs, because they didn't want to give too much away, but they really led to the idea that you get to play as Rose. Pretty much all the marketing was around that. So there was a short advertisement they put out. It was like, Night Springs expansion coming soon to Alan Wake 2. It comes with like monsters to fight and a new story, and you play as Rose, and also, you heard it here, folks, a brand new location you can play in, and it shows the diner's kitchen, a location we have never been able to go into. It's so good.
I think this already feels like a love letter to Rose.
Yes.
Because it's almost like Sam Lake going, no, think how much she's been doing. Like,
Sam Lake, not involved in the writing of episodes 1 or episode 2. He directly wrote all of the events of episode 3, which is, we'll get to it, the one with implications. This is Clay Murphy through and through, as well as some very junior writers on staff being brought in, like level designers and stuff who said, I'd like to try a bit of writing, being brought in to write like some of the dialogue and stuff. It's very collaborative, it's very fun, it's a big celebration of Remedy as a studio, this entire expansion. So, she goes, grabs a shotgun and a hunting rifle. The shotgun is an automatic shotgun, you hold down R2 and she goes, bang, 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 bang.
It's got like 4 times the magazine size of the one, because the magazine in game has like 2 shots and it takes ages to reload unless you upgrade it.
yeah.
This one, it's like 16 shots. It reloads in a second.
So she leaves the diner to cheers and applause. The whole town.
Then everyone claps.
Everyone claps. The whole town has come out to see her off. Even the banners and brickwork are rooting for her. So you know how like in the dark place was like screaming at Alan being like, you'll never escape and you suck. Yeah. This is that, but for Bright Falls going things like, you can do it, or find him, love him, save him. Like the brickwork is spelled out it.
There's like the Deerfest banner is there, but it's like you got it. You're our favorite writer.
You go, girl. All that stuff. So we'll run the diner while you're gone. A local calls after her, but we'll be way worse at it.
So is this sort of story-wise, is this supposed to be based on extruded from some of Rose's fanfic and writing?
Implied, yeah.
Implied, interior designer lady shouts after her, you gotta save literature! So the waitress's narrative voice then kicks in as she heads out of town towards the boatyard. And she's like, I was leaving my old life behind, like a body left to sink in a lake so no one finds it. Nothing would get between me and my future with the writer. So that's what she thinks. Because waiting in the boatyard is the bad boy.
Oh no.
With his motorcycle.
Folks, if anyone listening along, we've got Ilkavili this time in blue jeans boots, a bad boy leather jacket, and a bad boy motorbike.
I mean, it's basically the Scratch look after he took...
It's Scratch. It's Scratch number 3.
It's Scratch, but without the clothes. Yeah. Without the blood.
I knew you'd come to his rescue, the bad boy broods, stepping away from his sick motorbike. Who are you, and why do you look like a slightly less handsome version of my writer? The waitress squints. Don't you ever compare me to that worthless hack, the bad boy snarls. Sure, I may be his wild and rebellious, estranged twin brother, but we can't all be perfect. To think there were 2 of you this whole time, waitress gasps. After today, there won't be. No more writer, no more books, no more living in his shadow. Oh, I'm sure you 2 can talk it out and realize you have so much in common. And after you change and you can move in together, and I'll come over with popcorn for movie night. He had his chance for popcorn and movie night, but he wanted to keep everything for himself. Well, you know what they say, if you can't join 'em, beat 'em. I locked Mr. Fancy Pants up somewhere you'll never find him. I'll stop you, the waitress shakes her fist at him. Babe, I got an army of people who hate that hack almost as much as I do. They're ready to die if it stops him from writing another crappy book. What have you got?
I've got a shotgun.
The waitress with her gun, and he goes, I got a... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's a fair point.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I got a... Wait, is that a real shotgun? Okay, I admit it, I didn't expect that. Well, it doesn't matter. You can't stop all of us.
I had the greatest bug in the entire game that I did not for the life of me realize was a bug until way later, where at the start of this, you're like walking around, you like pick up the coffee pot, and you're like walking around, you're pouring people, and your like objective is just like, you have poured X amount of people's coffee out of X. And I didn't realize that you couldn't leave, so I just walked out the front door. And all the banners and stuff are there. And once you get out the door, the game like almost like hits a flag, like it expects that you are just going on to fight the bad boy. But I didn't have a gun. I still had the coffee pot in my hand.
Seriously?
So I just walk down the street with the coffee pot, and I get to the bad boy fight, and it gets to this line, and I fully, because I have a shotgun line in the trailer, so I fully thought there that I was meant to walk up with the coffee pot as like a joke, and it would be like, and I have a shotgun, and the coffee pot would turn into a shotgun, which obviously does not happen.
Would have been cool.
Enemies attack, and you just, I was like running around this boatyard trying to fucking find any weapons, not realize that they were all back in the diner, and I'm like, you can't bash him over the head with the coffee pot.
Amazing.
So the bad boy is basically like, you can't stop all of us. Jump scare. A dark wolf flashes up on screen. When it's gone, so is the bad boy.
Oh, it's so much better because it's not like a jump scare because it goes and it's like a smiley wolf with blue eyes.
When the wolf is gone, the wolf will become important, as in like it relates to its alpha stuff. You know, like it's like, oh, I'm well into wolves and It's like I'm a wolf.
This is whole different genres of romantic stories written online.
So when it's for a fun thing for this, so as inspiration for his writing team, Clay Murphy put together a fan edit of every time Alan and Rose have interacted to like love music. I was like, this is the vibe we're going for.
It's definitely set to Kiss Me.
Yeah. So he's like, jump scare, will flash on the screen. When it's gone, so is the bad boy, leaving behind sick, flaming motorcycle tracks. The waitress doesn't fight Taken in this game. She fights haters. They come running out of the woods and ambush her, yelling stuff like, it's too scary and weird, and he's so smug. But the waitress beats them back and follows the bad boy's tracks. As she does,
entire DLC feels so Alan Wake 1.
Yeah, I think this is more clever than Alan Wake 1.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's cleverness. Just the style, especially like that first Alan Wake 1 DLC. It feels so similar in vibes.
You're in an arena, here's some monsters. Yeah. So as she does, she wonders why her beloved writer never told her about his semi-evil twin brother. He must be waiting until the third or fourth date. Surrounded by candles, he would reveal this vulnerable chapter from the dramatic story of his emotionally troubled past. Sigh, that man has more layers than a croissant. Near a lakeside cabin, she hears him calling out to her. Hello? A voice calls. Won't anyone rescue this poor little writer? I'm just a frail writer, and I require aid. He must be inside. Inside the cabin, we see how the bad boy lives. This is his cabin. Dirty dishes, bottles, discarded weights and gym mats. Books are strewn around on how to be an alpha male. Posters lay on the walls saying things like, muscles don't cry, they sweat.
Oh, this is so sad. This is...
It's me, Rose announces. I've come to save you.
Bad boy's been watching too much Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Is Andrew Tate's cabin this? Yeah, totally. Oh, joy! Although I actually think the bad boy's more likable. Oh, joy! Yes. The voice calls back. We can finally be together and sit through beat poetry readings and drink $18 cocktails and have high tea with the queen. Wait a second, the waitress frowns. My writer only drinks coffee. There's a beat, and then a frustrated sigh. Okay, the bad boy responds. No more tricks. Meet me by the beach. At the beach, we find... I didn't have it here. We find upstairs, like, his torture pad, like, his plan for torturing the writer, and it's things like, burn all typewriters. And he writes poetry. It's bad poetry, but the bad boy's been trying to write poetry, and it's like, the moon. I love you, moon. Moon, you're great. I love you, Moon. Like, it's real bad. So, at the beach...
This is a terrible lordom, because it's just me laughing. This is legitimately funny.
Oh, trust me. Chapter 3, everything's gonna change. So, at the beach, we find the bad boy... This is like the fun one. At the beach, we find the bad boy staring moodily out across the bay. The waitress readies herself to give him the scolding of a lifetime. Hey, he says in a husky voice. Me and my bike were just enjoying the view. Where is my writer? The waitress curses. What do you even see in that crybaby? He's boring. He dresses like a nerd. He's a stylish intellectual, the waitress interrupts, who's in touch with his feelings. Now remember, I want to remind everybody here that technically Alan Wake wrote this episode.
Alan Wake, the most emotionally and mentally mature man of all time.
No wonder, I'm sorry, no wonder when he got possessed by the dark presence and he wrote that, like, oh, I turn into a monster, etc., and I become Scratch. The Scratch's response to how do I finish my evil book is, oh, I know, Ego Festival. Like, it's all there. Which, again, the game knows that's one of the joys of his character. Anyway, so, stylish intellectual who's in touch with his feelings. You're starting to cramp my style, babe. You're going to tell me where he is, or else. Or else what, babe? The bad boy smirks. You asked for it. The waitress clears her throat and unleashes on him. You're rude, you have no manners, your too cool to care attitude is attractive initially, but drives people away after they realize you're emotionally incapable of letting your walls down to reveal that you're a vulnerable human being just like everyone else. You're trying way too hard with that outfit. No, stop! I don't like being seen! I never had your precious rider, okay? I was just keeping you distracted while my army of haters storms his mansion. Now, the love of your life is doomed! Doomed! And Rose goes, no! And then he just disappears. Again, flaming motorcycle tracks, wolf, jump scare, etc. The waitress journeys on towards the writer's mansion, and just when it seems like she's lost, there's a light treading of hooves from behind her. A stag that speaks with the writer's voice. I knew you, my number one fan, would never fall victim to my twisted brother's lies. His hatred for me is as inexplicable as the sunrise, and just as fiery. I believe in you. Is the sunrise inexplicable? It's like, what, not explainable, right? Inexplicable? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I guess it would have been inexplicable. Like, it would seem inexplicable, you know, if you didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Alan's like, how does sunrise? Inexplicable. The stag turns back into the woodland and the waitress beams. The writer believes in her. They must be connected by love and destiny. There's no time to lose. I don't have a picture, do I? No. She's covered from head to toe in blood for this shot because she's been shooting so many haters. So she's just like, and she's like, blood is like dripping down her face like an old pulp.
It's like your dream of a DLC,
It
isn't it?
literally is, yes. The only thing it needs is a musical.
Legit. So he turns away. There's no time to lose. She's the only one who can save the writer and the very soul of literature from these evil haters.
If this particular chapter of DLC had a musical, it would just be season 1 of Schmigadoon.
Yeah. So up the road, the waitress makes it to the writer's mansion, and the bad boy is waiting for her. If I have to stop you myself, I will, the bad boy shouts. Unlike him, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. The power of love goes both ways. He flies around the mansion grounds.
It's not the only thing.
Shooting hearts of darkness at us, as in they are pink hearts that he shoots at you.
Who wants to say it? I mean, that just
Go ahead.
Kingdom Hearts.
Looks like it's bullet o'clock, the waitress growls, readying her shotgun. I didn't want to do this, but you forced my hand, the bad boy winces as bullets pierce his jacket. You see, I'm not just a rugged anti-hero type. I am also... He drops to the ground, black smoke curdles the air around him. A werewolf! Now you see the sexy monster within me. I should have known, the waitress gasps, but that won't stop me. She fires with perfect aim. Oh, sorry, Chase, go ahead.
No, keep continuing.
Okay, she fires with perfect aim to match her perfect attitude, knocking the bad boy back. He snarls at her. Did you know? My motorcycle is also a werewolf! And sure as the bitter taste of Bright Falls blend, it transforms into a wolf before our eyes. Oh no! But in the end, this is the end. But in the end, the waitress defeats the bad boy.
This fight's really hard, actually.
It is a very hard
fight.
fight.
You come through the easiest piss DLC, and then it's such a hard fight. He gives you, no time to react.
No time.
And especially once there's two werewolves, it's like, what is happening?
And you can't dodge the hearts because they home on you, so you gotta shoot them out the sky.
Especially because he's got, wolf AI, and the wolves are the worst fucking
His canonical name in this as well, which I like, is just the bad werewolf.
But in the end, she defeats him. He lies crying on the steps of the mansion. Oh, to point out, just in case, the mansion is just the Valhalla nursing home, but pink.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead, he gasps. Finish me off. I'm not going to kill you. You're my darling writer's brother, the waitress says. You really love him, huh? I guess I never had a chance. I was just jealous of his talent, his money, his velvety hair.
His massive dick.
But mostly, it was his massive dick. But mostly, that he's got the love of someone like you. Oh, you silly werewolf. You can have all those things too. You just need to stop wanting to be him and start wanting to be you.
Oh, you tiny dick little fuck.
Don't worry about me, the bad boy mutters. Your writer's up there. Go. Save him. The waitress races up the mansion, finding the door to the writer's room. I want to point out that this is where he lives, so he was never really in danger. He's just at home.
Yeah.
He's just home. If she called, he'd probably answer.
I don't think this is a Night Springs episode, right?
The Night Springs episode.
I don't think this can be one-to-one one of Alan's stories because it's nothing to do with getting out of the dark place.
She gets there, she opens the door to the writer's room, which is the same spirally sort of door. It's all that. We're back in the writer's room, and there he is. Oh, sorry, there he is, bad boy. There he is, her writer, smouldering by the table. He smiles at the waitress, and in slow motion they run to each other, holding on tight and spinning into a dance like two spinning planets. They would eventually crash into each other in a dazzling display of flames and rocks and other planet stuff.
Is that you or the game?
That's Rose. That's what Rose says. Sorry, the waitress. I would always be at his side, the waitress says, closing off the story by dipping the writer, staring into his eyes, and going in for a smooch. To inspire and protect him, he needed me, now and forever. After all, I am his #1 fan. As the credits roll, Warlandor gives us an outro. What is the line between fandom and fixation? One can never tell in Night Spring. This is how it happens.
Is this what this song's from that you've been playing for months?
Yes, this is the Night Spring song.
Pretty sure I heard this in your car the other day.
I would like us together to figure out how this didn't get Alan out of the dark place.
I know! Also, I feel like you said that you included it, but then you didn't.
What?
This has collectibles.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Similar to Rose's little notes that she's left for the hero. There's also lunchboxes here, but each one has 3 to 5 page long fan fictions about her and the writer. Did you say that you had one in the script?
I didn't. I must have cut it.
Do we think that Alan can't have ever written himself? Serious point, and I might just be totally misreading this. Do we think that Alan maybe can't have ever written himself out of the lake without the clicker?
Unsure.
I think
The only time it worked.
You need the clicker, I think, for Earth, but in the dark place where the rules barely apply, etc. I think you can kind of do whatever you want. Bear in mind that basically what he needs to write is something.
So then why did they need the clicker to make the bullet work? You know?
Crap, that's a really good point.
I reckon if the clicker is an amplifier and can sort of make his powers more powerful, he lost it. Maybe he never could have gotten out without it.
Bear in mind that the whole thing with Alan Wake 2, just like Alan Wake 1, but it's still all about writer's block as well. And the thing that we are battling in Alan Wake 2 isn't just dark presence shit, because that's whatever. It is the convoluted loops and nonsense that Alan has created in his earlier drafts. Because it all builds on top of each other. None of it's a race. You can't do a blank slate in the dark place. Technically, this is part of it. Who knows? Maybe this is the reason Rose started writing fan fiction. Maybe this is he wrote this and then Rose started writing fan fiction.
I think he was probably inspired by when he met her the first time round that she was his #1 fan then.
Oh yeah, I don't think he created Rose as a character or anything. She's still this. But yeah. But why does it not work? I mean, for a start, Alan wouldn't work because of the power of love. Because Alan loves Alice, not Rose. So
it's not real.
It's not real.
And also it's not believable. People have to feel it. You know, you've got to feel it.
I feel this. I feel it deep. I feel it real deep.
Cool. Okay. Episode 2.
I believe you.
Right in my G-spot.
There it is.
There it is.
Episode 2. North Star. Once again, Warlandor broodingly opens our episode. A woman on a mission to save a missing loved one, desperately trying to stay one step ahead of a shadowy government agency hunting for her.
Does that look like... Is that Jessie?
And once took the only person that she cares about. On her quest, she is guided by her mysterious alien guardian angel. Her guiding star showing her the way, as it always has, all the way to Night Springs.
Yay!
This is Jesse's episode, or this is the Jesse episode, Jesse Faden.
Let's do it.
The sibling follows a spiraling, shimmering entity arriving at the entrance to Coffee World. This is going to get strange, her interior monologue says. There's no helping it. There's a government agency who doesn't want people to know more than what they see. That's why they took my brother. Coffee World is under new management. It's only open at night now. There have been rumours of people going missing, strange goings-on around the theme park. Some posters advertise dark triangle coffee. Others show a black inverted pyramid dripping coffee into a mug, telling us to join the percolation. Black shadows, similar to Alan's fade-outs, stand inside the park, passively watching as the sibling walks by.
Dark roast.
They mutter.
You are not coffee. Nescafe.
So what's happening here? Well, thankfully, under the light of a gazebo, the sibling finds someone who can offer up answers. Ma'am, the sheriff says. Quick, get inside the light. So who's this?
For anyone listening along, it's our friend Timmy.
Yeah, Tim Breaker, he's back. So, notably, Beth and Jack reconnecting in a game again. So she's like, what's going on here?
Do you think they only put him in this episode because of that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, also because it kind of helps to characterize Tim a little bit, even though it's not Tim, it's the sheriff, but like, you'll see. So, what's going on here, the sibling asks. What are those shadow people? That's what I'm trying to figure out, the sheriff says, eyeing her with wide, almost manic stare. The government's been putting something in the coffee. Turning people into coffee monsters. This is deep state science. There's a warehouse just past the park. I figured that's where they're taking the people they abduct, but don't go down there. That's how they get you. The sibling grabs a gun and a flashlight and prepares to explore, and as she leaves, the sheriff stops her and he says, whatever you do, do not drink the coffee. Episode 2 is a big fat puzzle box, and lore-wise, this is going to be a real short one. The sibling, we don't get much. The sibling needs to keep solving puzzles to unlock the way into the warehouse that the sheriff mentioned. She can keep going back to him to ask him for help or advice, and he happily provides it. When she buzzes the intercom of the warehouse, it gives her instructions. Please insert pass key. Sorry, I lost it. Please insert pass key. Fucking machine. Pass key invalid. The sibling tracks down, and I really like how she's written in this. I said in our Control 1 that I'm a bit critical of the way Jesse's written in the game. I find her a bit flat. She's got a bit of a fire here, and a bit of a... She's just kind of like, this is fucking annoying, like, let me in.
Is she more Bethy?
She's more Bethy.
Is this Jesse? This is a sort of echo of Jesse, isn't it?
The sibling. It's more Jesse, I think, than Beth, because we've got Polaris here.
Yeah. For sure it's based on her, yeah.
But yeah, it's the sibling. But I just mean if we take any of the siblings' characterization and put it into Jesse in Control 2, I'll be very happy. So the sibling tracks down an orientation video that will give her the passkey, and when she watches it, something happens. A resonance pushes out from the video, a sound that we can't quite hear. Is it hissing or bubbling? It tries to take her over. She screams, her head pounds and pounds, and then suddenly, it is gone. Did her North Star protect her from it? Some puzzles later, the sibling makes it back to the intercom for one last challenge. Try the coffee, the voice on the intercom commands. I already tried the coffee, the sibling lies. You are not coffee. Seeing no other recourse, the sibling finds and tries the coffee. The cup conveniently sits on a table. A spiral has been smudged underneath it. When the brew touches her lips, the scent, the roast, it's nice. Doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with... The sibling cries out, doubling over. Again, that bubbling resonance fills her head, joined this time by screams. Coffee! Beans! Percolate! Join us! But thankfully, her North Star beats it all back. Quick thing to note is that around Coffee World are optional caches full of resources. They're mini puzzles.
Would you like me to go get your notebook?
Yeah, I saw these the other day in your notebook. I was worried about you.
When you solve them, we get these bizarre messages in a triangular language. Once the sibling has drank the coffee, this language then gets translated into English. They don't say anything of use. It's stuff like join the percolation, etc. None of it is important. But I think there is a good chance that this is probably what the board's language looks like from Control. Just putting it out there in case that is confirmed in Control 2, because I think that pulling this and then comparing to the English translations, you could probably pull together a board alphabet. So if we get weird messages, maybe this is going to be a foundation of solving that.
Which would be interesting if the cult of the trees symbol, it looks like it's unintentionally one of the letters of the language of the board.
Yeah, I just noticed that. But yeah, so just flagging that now in case I have to come back to it in Control 2, because if that is the case, that is insane. If not, I don't know, maybe I'm giving Remedy too much credit, but we'll see. So, heading back to the warehouse, we hear gunshots. The sheriff is doubled over, wincing. He's alive, but he's hurt. Dead coffee monsters lie all around him. Sheriff, you okay? I'm fine. Those government bastards will never get me. I got a little bit of coffee in my mouth, though. I spit it out. It should be fine. You go on up ahead. I'm just going to catch my breath.
Oh, no.
Back at the intercom, the sibling passes the final test. I tried the coffee, she says. You are coffee, the intercom says. Forfeit your weapons. You may enter. Welcome, coffee. Inside the warehouse is a possessed, shambling Coffee World mascot.
Pain in the ass.
Remember those two flask guys from Bright Falls? It's one of them. Join the percolation, it screeches. The coffee speaks through him. Jessie dashes into a nearby office and locks the door behind her. And inside is a strange note in scrawled handwriting. I have done their bidding, packaged their coffee, and brought the people to Coffee World to share in their blessing. They say I am almost ready. Blessing? 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 I don't know. Night Springs. In the next room is the sheriff. He's surrounded by coffee tins, bags, thermoses. How did he get in here? Because there's only one entrance. Who knows? Hey, I brought you a coffee. He smiles. A dead, glazed smile. Coffee time is family time. It's the best part of the day. Coffee solves all your problems. It lowers heart disease and leads to higher life expectancy. I'm so sorry, Sheriff, the sibling sighs, and just pushes past him into the basement. He doesn't do it. He's just standing there holding his cups. In the basement, a dark void awaits her. As her flashlight illuminates the space, we see mountains of coffee thermoses. And in the middle of the room, a containment unit. This isn't the government, Jessie thinks, as she stares at who's in the unit. Who's in the unit, do you think?
The writer?
Hello, sister, the brother says.
Do you recognize the containment unit?
I'd like to tell you about a dream I had.
Oh, we had to have a lot of discussion about that containment unit, didn't we?
So it's Alan Wake, or the writer, or whoever. He's Alan Wake. He's inside the containment unit, and there's two holes behind him as if it's the writer's room. But it's Dylan Faden's containment unit from Control. So yeah, I'd like to tell you about a dream I had. We cut to black, and as the credits roll, Dora gives us our outro. A conspiracy within a conspiracy. Who can ever know how truly deep the rabbit hole goes in Night Springs?
I'd be fucking raging if that was a TV show I was working, and that was the last episode I was going to get that dealt with any of that. Like, what? Where's my horror show that I tuned in for?
I don't like that episode.
I get it. I think it's the weakest of the three. Why doesn't this one work?
I don't even want to go into why we thought it could work. There's no...
He doesn't get out at the end here.
He doesn't get out. And also, sincerely, I think that Alan replacing Dylan Faden as Jesse Faden's brother, that is two powerful utilitarians. I don't think he can replace himself as either of them. That doesn't make any sense. So, the sibling was wrong. This is where it gets stranger than usual. Can't be helped. Episode 3. Time Breaker.
Stop looking so excited.
I'm excited. Time Breaker.
Oh, shit.
If it makes you feel better, I'm exasperated.
Oh, no.
Our last one. This is the meteor of them.
I said you two never agree.
Dor blinks at the camera. He knows that this is the big one. We often look back and wonder, what if? What if the path not taken had in fact been our charted course? Would we be happy? Or are we, with our set of choices behind us, the lucky ones? What if, for some of us, our destiny across an endless number of versions of ourselves has been defined across all realities. We join our lone operative as he chases his nemesis, a dangerous being known as the Master of Many Worlds, across the multiverse, across Night Springs. So I make the point in my critique.
You're annoyed about the thing, are you?
No, I'm just already exasperated.
There's a lot in this.
There's a lot in this.
This is where we start to get implications. It's silly and it's fun, but there's a lot of implications to this, and we're going to get there. But I made the point in my critique that opening monologue by Door, you guys made the joke earlier, that opening monologue by Door is basically going, hey, this is the Quantum Break 2 one. We don't have the rights, so now it's Time Breaker, okay? Because it talks like, the road not traveled. Again, the only reason Control exists is because Quantum Break failed, Microsoft didn't fund a sequel, and Microsoft still have the rights. Yeah. So they had to pivot and do Control stuff instead, and now they're getting success with that. So, yeah. What do you have to say, Chase? Anything?
Give us a Time Breaker game.
Yeah, let's go.
You'll find it's pronounced Timmy Breaker.
Breaker.
Not in this game. The actor Sean Ashmore raises a device into the air and stares into the distance. Yes, we are playing as Sean Ashmore, okay? Not anyone else. We are playing as Sean Ashmore.
Person?
So he's the actor. No matter how many parallel realities I need to brave, he says, how many lives, I will stop him, and I will come back for you, my love.
Stupid.
Cut! Director Sam Lake says, rising from his chair and applauding Sean's performance.
Yes, we're all wanking ourselves off, and I'm absolutely fine with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, the wanking hasn't even started.
This is not Remedy Entertainment, Neil. This is Poison Pill Entertainment. If you take a poison pill, what do you need?
A remedy.
Hey.
I think a while ago, you and me were texting in the group chat about Poison Pill, and it was just going over your head.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I think you just tuned us out.
Totally fair.
I do sometimes avoid the group chat for a while.
So they're working on a new video game. A sequel to a game they made years ago about time travel and choices. Neil, it's going to have live action in it. Lots of live action.
I love it.
They talk about that.
Everyone mocked them for live action at the time because they worked. It was terrible, to be fair. They've nailed it ever since.
They have, and the reason why I think it works is because Quantum Break's live action is like 25 minutes long, whereas these live action cutscenes we're talking 5 minutes. It's less time to kind of tune out, and also I think you get away with doing weird live action stuff because we're dealing with the dark place, so anything can be whatever you want it to be. But yeah, so it's gonna have live action in it, lots of live action, and Sam is really excited to be returning to this universe with Sean Ashmore again. Sean, I'm really happy, but I think we can go further. Immerse ourselves into the story. Believe in it. Make it crazier and wilder. He skibbity bops his way over to the snacks table. I'm not kidding. He kind of goes like, like he heads over to get a donut. We've been dreaming about this for so long, and now finally we are making Time Breaker. So, about my character, Sean says, yes, a multiversal agent. Goes by many names as there are many versions of him. Breaker, Branch, others. He's searching for his lost love while his ruthless nemesis Door, the Master of Many Worlds, is murdering versions of him across parallel realities. He must track down and stop Door. Long term, your character, the agent, will grow into the ultimate iconic superhero. So again, we're talking about archetypes, the superhero archetype here. And that was always the plan for Jack Joyce. Quantum Break 1 was meant to be an origin story, and then we get into weird superhero stuff later, but it all got cancelled. So the gadget I have, sorry, I forget the name, so many acronyms, Sam. Acronyms are cool, right? Sam's eyes light up like tiny mysteries. You power up your PRS, the Polyhedron Reality Shifter, with an SEN, Shifter Energy Node, to activate Lumivista TVs and ride the vortex between realities. It's all REC, Ripple Effect Corporation tech. And you have a gun and a TBC, Time Breaker Solidifier, to defend yourself. Yeah. Wank, 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 wank. Don't care. So yeah,
Sorry, I just pictured that's the noise you make.
It's so much funnier knowing that it was Sam, like, personally and
wrote this
exclusively writing this.
They went, DLC, I'd like to open it up. I have an idea for this one. Get out of the way.
And I'm gonna self-insert myself so that I'm saying my own lines in universe.
Well, this is kind of the bit where he just like lays out the Remedy verse. So Sean goes, right, okay, sure, the RNS, whatever. You clearly have your own vision of the multiverse. Can you explain? And Sam downs his coffee and he goes, it's the truth! It's all out there, Sean. That's where these ideas and inspirations come from. They seep through. Somewhere, this here, us talking, is part of the video game. And another version of you is playing it. Can you imagine being Sean Ashmore playing the final version of this? Somewhere, your character, the agent, is real. And he could appear here, through a portal, anytime now. It's all real. Sean laughs. You're a maniac, man, totally. And he heads to his green room to start learning his lines.
I also like how he came up for, like, directorial character advice, and Sam gave him none of that.
Just gave him lore. Here's lore.
Absolutely zero character advice.
Just doing everything they can not to mention the names of anything. You know, it's almost like, but we must be careful. Interdimensional beings may come through. Tiny little piles of sludge. We call them Microsofts.
You mean shifters? No. So suddenly, as he's heading off to his green room, psychedelic coloured lights flare up. No! A voice sounds. This is your end, Warlandor's voice says. There's a cracking sound, a mirthless chuckle, and silence. What was that, Sean wonders, and pushes into his green room to find himself, dead against the wall. He thinks the body is a fake, that the blood is fake. It's all one big practical joke. Classic Sam. So he got in.
Do you think when they were making this game that somebody ever just walked into the room and there was a dead corpse of themselves?
Listen, who do you think gave Jared Leto all those ideas back in the set of Suicide Squad?
Yeah. So we hear a voice, a woman's voice, sounding from behind Sean. So we got another one of you, huh? Too late again. A woman with red hair stands in the doorway staring sadly around the room. Who does she look like?
It's Jessie Wade.
Bethy! Why are they both special enough that they got 2 of the 3 episodes?
Alan Wake got one of her episodes, to be fair.
To be frank, I'll tell you this now, Neil, I'm happy to tell you this. So there was always a planned other episode for this. Technically 2, but there was going to be one featuring Estevez and one featuring Casey. The Estevez one, I think, fell through because of scope and stuff. We don't really know much about it.
And also probably because a lot of that got sucked into Lake House.
Probably. I think a lot of whatever they're going to do with her probably got bolted onto Lake House. But Casey's James McCaffrey died. So, yeah. And all we know about that was it was going to be Casey's investigation and we play bits of it, which would have been an awesome, awesome chapter to get. It is a real shame. But you were asking, like, why do you think these 2... I think, honestly, it was just like, fuck, we got to scrap this one. Let's make these 2 bigger, and let's just, like, pay a bit more and get these 2 actors in. So, also because these 2 are so important.
We would have loved to have seen it build up to a trio game, obviously, you know...
Well, it might still do that. Tim Breaker exists, you know? But regardless... So,
we can get a Timebreaker game!
a woman with red... This is the Timebreaker game. So a woman with red hair stands in the doorway staring sadly around the room. This, Sean laughs. Oh no, it's a prank. Are you in the video game too? I'm Sean. And he like holds out his hand and the woman refuses to shake it. She just looks at him and she goes, shit, you're not Branch. Oh no. And she starts to panic and tears well in her eyes as she looks at the body on the floor. He finally got you. Listen to me. And she fixes Sean with a stare. You are in great danger. You must do exactly what I tell you. She's interrupted by a flash and the sound of Warlandor's laughter. And just like that, Sean is in the middle of the woods. The reality of the octahedron, something we know because the shape appears on screen. You'll remember Tim Breaker's whiteboard had all those shapes. I told you I know what those shapes are. Each of those shapes represents a different universe. So this is the octahedron dimension. He's got a long Kurt Russell-style mullet and shaggy beard. So it's almost like he almost takes on the form of this universe's Sean Ashmore. What the hell? Sean panics. Jesus Christ, what the hell? He realizes that the redhead woman looked familiar, but he's not sure where from. Did Sam do this, an elaborate hoax, or is the multiverse real after all?
Can Sam teleport people now? What a jokester.
Grew my hair out 2 years and everything.
He resolves to just go along with it. I'm an actor, he says, laughing a little unhinged. I'm going to act like this is real, and when this is over, we'll have a good laugh, and I'll punch Sam Lake in the face.
I was picturing Sam, and then he punches me in the face.
Just having a little chuckle to himself. What are you doing over there, Sam? Nothing. He pushes through the woods and hears a voice identical to his own echoing among the trees. This universe is him running from something. So it's not that he replaces them. He almost he's now a clone of this universe's version of him.
Such a weird way to do it.
It's a weird way to do it, but it is what it is. So he pushes through the woods, hears the voice. He's coming, the voice says. He knows where I am. No. Oh, God, I need to hide the energy node. He finds an abandoned trailer, and inside it is a whiteboard. There isn't much here we don't already know from Tim Breaker's whiteboard in Alan Wake 2. All the Shawn Ashmores are connected to the red-haired woman, or women. They're all being hunted by the Master of Many Worlds, etc. But it does seem to officially connect Quantum Break to the Remedyverse. Where is it? Agent Branch. Oh, sorry, it's James J, not Jack J. But I think that's probably as close as they could get. Yeah. So there you go. James Joyce, I think, is maybe the idea. So
two things I love here are the confirmation that Darling is just in every...
Yeah, every universe has a Darling.
If Darling is in the dark place, then he is connected to every single universe.
Yeah. And also the don't wipe next to the stuff that he wiped.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. The acronyms, what are they hiding? Yeah.
They're a mystery. They're many mysteries.
So Shawn pushes on and eventually finds the energy node, just like in the video game he was making with Sam. He raises the PRS and taps into the node, ready to bring it back to the Luma Vista TV in the trailer. Don't stress about the acronyms, they don't matter. A scream. Why me? The other Shawn screams. Please, I'm no one. Take the others, not me. A snap and a crunch. We hear doors chuckle and find the other Shawn's body, dead. Time! A monstrous roar calls behind him. Breaker! Shawn turns and sees another him bubbling with white. Time. Energy. It races a police baton and charges for him. Shawn raises his gun, fires, and shoots the monster into dust. Shaking it off, he heads back to the trailer and pushes through the energy node into the TV, arriving in the reality of the pentagonal trapezohedron. I had to look these up. It's 10 sites, because they're meant to be 3D, so we're counting these as sites. So yes, it's the Ocean View Hotel, but it's black and white. Shawn notes that unlike the woods, he can't hear any other versions of himself in here. The hotel loops and loops as Door sends more time breakers after him. Shawn fights through, hearing Artie singing Yuten Yu as he does. There's one interesting thing to see in the Ocean View Hotel, and that is our third Tom Zane movie, Death Rally. Death Rally is Remedy's first game. That game has a character called Tom Reimer in it. Not kidding. Who radios up the protagonist and gives him inspirational speeches about being a good racer and all that stuff. Also in the remake, Barry's in it. I don't know either. Don't worry about it. But notably now we have our third Zane film, which is a Death Rally film. None of this is based on work by Alan Wake.
No, and it's yeah, wow.
So, what does that mean? And is it the same Tom that we're talking about? Is this another universe? I don't know. We're going to move on. We'll talk about it later. So, Shawn gets the energy node, finds the TV, and whoosh into the next reality we go. Something was different, Shawn thinks, arriving in the reality of the sphere.
Ooh.
A strange feeling, still yet moving, like frozen snapshots on a sequential path. And yet, thoughts flowing free, like text read out loud. This is the reality of a comic book.
Yeah. For anyone listening along, we are looking at a rather beautiful page of a comic book with a sort of spiral galaxy universe portal fuckery in the background and our hero in the front.
Shawn turns to see the red-haired woman again. It's you, he says. I made it. I focused on you when I entered. I was trying to reach you. You are full of surprises, she smiles ruefully at him. Okay, let's try this out. The woman explains that this is the headquarters of the Ripple Effect Corporation, the REC. The building looks a lot like Monarch HQ from Quantum Break. You could also say it's Monarch meets the FBC. It's that combination. She is an agent here. They investigate the multiverse. Sean notes that this is the plot of the video game he was working on with Sam Lake. It's all real, he asks, and the woman dumps the lore. Real and not real exist side by side in the multiverse, she says. Echoes flow through it like currents in a cosmic ocean. The Sea of Night. Where have we heard the Sea of Night before?
Song title.
Song that Odin was working on in the Valhalla nursing home, yeah. And I will say that I've got the vinyl, it's only on vinyl, but on the Old Gods of Asgard vinyl that you can get, which has all their songs, Sea of Night is the last song. They have written that song.
Sea of Night's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify now?
Yeah.
God.
It's great.
Well, it's a great song.
I loved you trying to subtly one-up each other as Remedy fans there. I don't know if you heard that. It's actually only on the vinyl. It's not anymore.
Actually, all the goobers get it. All right.
I'm too cheap to pay for the vinyl.
So we're not going to get into it with the Sea of Night, but basically the lyrics are basically all about like the old gods of Asgard on their ship sailing to other shores. That's all it is. Searching for treasure. Yeah. But it's the Sea of Night. It's the multiverse. It's the cosmic ocean. Again, it's not like it's an ocean. Conceptual, fictional, real, more real than real. Many versions of us all in hidden interaction, linked by the energies that ripple through realities. We see a picture of the many Sean Ashmores, another picture of the many Sam Lakes, Alex Casey, Dark Place Casey, the actor, the director. One of you is killed by an explosion of dangerous energy, the woman says, and we see a picture of Beth Wilder's death in Quantum Break. And another one instead gains superpowers, and we see control. And another one meets an alien guardian angel, and we see the sibling from chapter 2.
You were
This
right.
confirms
I was right, yes, but
that Jeth exists.
Jeff does exist, yes.
You called this way back in Control 1.
multiverse.
Insane. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll give you all due props. You were doing a bit more than predicting the future of the franchise, but it was right. You were absolutely right. Yeah,
It was right.
Never ever give up on your bits.
Keep biting your tongue, Chase.
I am biting my tongue. I'm biting my tongue so
There's
hard.
ramifications, Neil, that we'll get to.
Chase is bleeding from their mouth.
Oh no, I bit my tongue off. I'm dying.
In one reality, the woman says, not Jessie says, in one reality, we are not even real, or as you say, characters in some video game. Why is Dor after me? Sean asks. There are legends about him going back further than we can trace, the woman says. And we see the time cave from Quantum Break. The cave that Martin Hatch referenced in Control.
Shredded Door.
Yeah, he's a monster.
So buff.
Yeah. So, they say he found an opening to a horrifying parallel reality that consumed him, gave him access to all realities. The feedback loop killed all other versions of him, which is a detail I personally really like if we are to take any of this at face value, because it means we've got one door. We don't have to worry about any other.
Oh yeah, I always
multiverse
assumed that because that's what I wanted to be the case. You want one interdimensional sort of trickster god kind of.
You don't want this to be like a Kang situation where you got 50,000 Kangs. Yeah, it's just easier to work this way. So if we take any of this at face value, because it is a Night Springs episode, one door. We see Dor staring in the cave, engulfed by knowledge. I am on the threshold, he gasps. Liminal! He screams in pain as his mind and his body are exposed to the Sea of Night. A door, he roars, everywhere! The woman continues. We don't know why, she says, but he sees versions of you as a threat. He's killing them, bringing them back as time breakers. We thought he was after Branch, Agent Branch. Now I'm thinking he's been after you. He must be stopped. He leaves dead realities in his wake, and he's picking up speed. I'm just an actor, Sean Ashmore says.
I'd forgotten about that detail.
Could have fooled me, the woman smiles. You travel through realities with greater accuracy than anyone I've ever seen. Beyond Dor, even. You picked it up just like that. Finding the place that made him might be the key to killing him. You could find that place. She leads Sean to a Lumivista TV and he powers it up. But before he leaves, he turns to her. Was there something between you and Branch? The woman stutters. what you think you're feeling right now, it's just an echo. Some other versions of us in some other lifetime. So because they're both they seem to be quite recipient to their other versions, it's like they almost get those feelings, those memories sometimes echoing through to the two of them. But maybe Sean looks at her, holding on to the feelings that seem to cosmically link them across the multiverse. You asked why it's the two of them and the sibling. It's to remind us of this. You'll come back for me? The woman grins. Maybe. Why is that line relevant? You'll come back for me. It's what Jack Joyce whispers in Beth Wilder's ear at the very end of Quantum Break. Remember, he goes back in time and he thinks about saving her and then chooses not to. And he whispers and he says, I'll come back for you. And moves away.
Yeah.
And maybe Alice and Alan more now after Alan Wake 2, just because Alice's writing is so beautiful. This is probably the one romance in the Remedyverse that I am invested in and I buy. I think that the two of them in Quantum Break is written so well that you really care about that relationship. So it's nice that we're noting it. And I wonder if maybe in Control 2 or future games, if Tim Breaker and Jesse meet, will they have a moment? Saying that, Jesse has Pope, so who knows. Anyway. Before we leave the comic reality, I want to put a picture on screen. We see it when the red-haired woman is talking about the different versions of people.
Oh, God damn it.
Talk to me, Neil.
Ah, Jesus. So, we mentioned the screen earlier with the different Sam Lakes, Casey's, the different Sean Ashmore, Joyce's, etc. And we've got one, and in the middle, it's Alan Wake. On the left, it's one of the hatches. And on the right, it's Tom Zane.
One of the hatches.
You know what I mean, one of the scratches.
Oh.
Yeah.
And on the right, it's Tom Zane.
Now,
All this is saying is that Alan and Scratch are not the same person.
yeah, it doesn't really make much
Different
sense.
realities where things are similar, I don't know.
Don't forget what not Jesse told us, which is that real and not real in the multiverse, vast, fiction come true. So here's the thing about this. I personally kind of hate that this exists in here. I hate it because I don't particularly care for the idea that Thomas Zane is just a multiversal variant. I don't find that very interesting because we are all burnt out on multiverse stuff. Mm-hmm. That is a shame because it is very clear that Remedy have been building to multiverse shit long before the MCU started doing it, and really that's the reason we're all burnt out on it. Yeah. However, I also don't think that's entirely the case. So what this we've got Scratch in here. And we get this kind of during the bit when she's talking about how fictional people get their own universe in the multiverse, basically, and like a fictional version of you is like a variant. So this still doesn't remove the possibility and the strong theory that Zane is a creation by someone. Whether he's a creation by Tom the Poet, creating a filmmaker echo of himself, maybe Alan writes him into existence. But we still don't, this does not conclude anything. No. It's also only on screen because I counted this for 5 seconds. And nobody goes, Zane. Like, it's like, whoa, and it's gone. Like, it is a blink and you miss it moment. The fact that Scratch is here is what makes this suspect, because Scratch is possessed Alan Wake, true, but he's also technically a fictional character, because Alan wrote into Return, then I get possessed by the Dark Presence, lol. So which makes Scratch a fictional entity. Yeah. So, we don't know what this is.
And also, is all of this written by Alan?
Exactly. Does any of this matter? Is any of this canon because it's Night Springs?
But then how has Alan seemingly written Door's origin?
I don't think Alan is God. I don't think we're to assume that everything we've seen in history has always been written by Alan. But I think we can assume that because it's a good point, because we are still in a Night Springs episode.
Door worked with Alan on Night Springs, remember? He said it was a nice distraction. Who knows? Maybe Alan's writing this and Door's like, and then let's write an episode where what if I kill that Sean Ashmore guy? Let's do that. That'll be fun. That'll be funny. Or whatever, So who knows? I mean, it was like, let me tell you, Alan, let me tell you about my origin story, bro. You can turn it into a little TV show. Like, we don't know. But it's weird and it's suspect. And all I'm saying right now, Remedy people, is that this does not confirm that Tom Zane is a multiversal variant. And I need something much clearer. And to be frank, because it is the most interesting mystery remaining right now. I mean, there's other ones. What's Door up to? But this is the big mystery that a lot of Remedy fans have rallied around. I need this, when we find out what it is, I need that moment to mean something and not be a 5-second comic book panel that skims by. I'm not prepared to accept that this is fact.
I think we're fine. I think we're just we're doing we've done a whole story about echoes and about there's so many fucking explanations for this.
If we are to follow this multiverse idea, there was the rumor around Nightless Night, Tom Zane's film, that it was in fact a snuff film. If we do follow the logic, perhaps, that Tom Zane is a multiversal variant, there's every chance that Nightless Night was filmed in his universe, which means that maybe that was a snuff film, and maybe he killed his universe's Alex Casey on set. Just a thought. I'm tossing out ideas here. Which makes that real dark if that's the case. Very interesting. But yeah, just to throw that out there. It also means that the Alex Casey investigation that we follow in The Dark Place obviously is not beat for beat what our Alex Casey went through in his life. But there's echoes and stuff. Maybe what Alan was getting was multiverse Caseys going on their own separate investigations into the cult of the Word. We don't know. We don't know. Let's keep going. Story's not nearly done yet. So, not nearly done.
Really?
No, sorry. I've got 2 pages left.
Oh, what's in those 2 pages?
Sean blasts off into the reality of The Cube. It's a 2D side-scrolling shooter.
Obviously.
Neil doesn't know what to make of any of this now.
No. Yeah.
Neither do I, and I've played it.
I really like that the subtitles are now pixelated.
Yeah. Door appears and is like, ha, 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 I am the master of many. It's got that sort of like sort of sound. I am the master of many worlds. You will never beat me. Timebreakers attack. Tim fights them off and jumps into the next reality, which is the reality of the dodecahedron, the edge of the multiverse. A vast dead trench. Energy nodes lie in heaps, sucked of their power. You should not be here. Door's voice echoes out through the gloom. You made a mistake.
Interesting that the energy nodes are in the shape of a dodecahedron.
Yes, really good point. Yes.
So I'm wondering if maybe this place is dead because they're pulling all their energy from this place and draining this world of its energy. That is absolutely pure speculation reaching out of nowhere, but it'd be cool.
A lot of this is reaching out of nowhere and just taking that what we're given here to go, what does this mean? Go to hell, Sean mutters and passes into our final reality in the end of the game. The reality of the pentagonal trapezohedron.
Sorry, I missed that there. Who said you shouldn't be here? Was it Door?
Door, his voice echoing out over the sky, basically, yeah. So we pass into our final reality. It's a reality of words. Nothing but words and ideas. A stream of consciousness, a choose-your-own-adventure game, which I find is quite nice thematically if this is like a spiritual successor to Quantum Break, all about choices and stuff is cool. Your choices do influence the path Sean takes to the credits.
God damn you.
I'm not giving them to you.
Oh, thank God.
But they all end the same way. There are, by my count, 6 there's loads of options here with tiny details, but talking big picture, 6 options with a few further variations. I'm going to just tell you them all. I'm not going to read them like this, I'm just going to tell you what they mean. Option 1, I don't remember which one it was for you, Chase, so you just tell me when I get to your one.
Yeah, because I've only played this once. I didn't realize there were multiple until I was talking to Monty later about it.
And also, some of these choices are ridiculous. It's like, you summon a drink in front of you. What do you summon? Tea or coffee? And it's like, tea takes you here. It's that sort of thing. Some of them then start getting quite important, though. So option 1, this is our first ending. Shawn Ashmore thinks of preparing to fight Door. He reaches out through the multiverse and amasses an army of Shawn Ashmores. He realizes they need a place of power as a base. He focuses on a gigantic, petrified tree trunk, and it turns into a skyscraper of brutalist architecture. It turns into the headquarters of the REC. The red-haired woman is there. Her name is Jezbet.
Cool.
I quite liked Jeth more, but it's Jezbet. Sean makes her the director of the REC, and she gets a service weapon.
Oh, okay, sure.
In researching the multiverse, the REC find a strange alien being that gives them the upper hand. It's Polaris.
Yeah.
War comes to the REC.
I thought it would have been the board, since it's the organization that found it.
Could be the board. I think it's Polaris based on another one. Doesn't matter. They find an alien being. It doesn't matter. War comes to the REC. Timebreakers versus the agents. It goes horribly wrong. Sean and Jezbet use the alien as a bomb. Everyone dies. Jezbet sacrifices herself to save Sean, and he manages to escape through a door that suddenly appears. Option 2. They all end with a door. Option 2. Sean does not make Jezbet the director of the FBC. He researches the multiverse himself.
I mean, the REC.
The REC.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for keeping me right.
There's no FBCs here.
No FBCs here. So so he doesn't make her the director of the REC. He researches the multiverse himself, and an alien being latches on to him, making him feel incredibly powerful. He wields the service weapon himself. He goes on a killing spree, killing all the time breakers. But in that power, he loses himself, destroying Jezbet, the REC, into multiple realities. At the end of the universe, exhausted and scared of what he's become, Sean sees a door. Option 3. Shawn Ashmore focuses on the master of many worlds. Suddenly, Shawn Ashmore from the future arrives and gives him a seed. This was the one I got. We eat the seed and our body convulses. The plant blooms in our brain, branches poke from our eyes, it expands and it grows, going on forever until the branches touch other realities. Shawn Ashmore becomes Yggdrasil, the world tree. Shawn Ashmore then turns into a fruit from the tree and he's reborn. He is now future Shawn Ashmore. He gives his past self a seed, completing the loop. After handing over the seed, a door appears.
Seems like a good ending so far.
Option 4. If we reject the seed from future Shawn Ashmore, it drops to the ground and the world tree grows anyway. Shawn then hangs himself from the tree.
This is the one I got.
And his mind expands as he witnesses the multiverse being born. He becomes Odin. Eventually, a door appears. That was yours, wasn't it, Chase? Yeah. Option 5. Shawn focuses on the red-haired woman and he finds her, living out a peaceful life. She doesn't know anything about the multiverse. He tells her he came back for her and she smiles, thinking it's a pickup line. They live a long time together, but Shawn is still troubled by dreams of the multiverse. Lisa is the woman's name, and she grows distant. He doesn't tell her the truth of what he knows. The two of you book a vacation in the Pacific Northwest. While there, Lisa has dreams of the multiverse. It drives her mad. She throws herself into Cauldron Lake, and a door appears before Shawn the next morning. Final option, option 6. If Shawn does tell Lisa what he knows, she becomes obsessed with the multiverse. She researches everything, learns all about it. One night, she steps through a Lumivista TV, gone forever, and entering a different reality. As Shawn reads the note she left behind, telling him she loves him, a door suddenly appears. And behind the door is the master of many worlds. And all of our endings come to this point. Alan Wake, the writer, brought to life in ASCII art. As the credits roll, this is the end of the episode. As the credits roll, Warland Orr tries to comfort the viewer. Can there be more than one master of many worlds? Or did our hero take a wrong turn somewhere along the way? Was this particular journey precisely what was needed to make him the one he was meant to become? One thing is certain. I am your host, the one and only Warland Orr. And this is Night Springs. And the credits roll. You have everything I have.
Wow, I'm caught up on Remedy. Can I go and watch your goddamn critique now?
You can.
You can.
And you can see me have a meltdown over this. And Zane.
I don't like the wording at the end there, because the wording is the exact reason why I thought that I got a wrong ending, quote unquote. And I don't like that it's the one for all endings, because maybe he took a wrong turn. Sounds like you got the wrong ending.
It's more the what if. It's the what if he talks about the start.
I'm aware, just weird.
One thing Dorr confirms in this is that he is in fact the one and only Warland Dorr, and therefore I think that is the only thing that we can take as objective fact from this. One door across all realities. We know the multiverse exists in Remedy. We've known that since Control, since Dylan was like, yeah, there's many worlds, by the way, they're all on top of each other, and Dorr is walking between.
I mean, we didn't even need him. We just needed the slide projector.
Well, the slide projector told us that too. You're right.
But all roads, in all these stories led back to our boy.
Yes. Which means again, this doesn't work and Alan doesn't get out, etc. So, I have 6, well, actually 5, because I can get rid of one. 6 areas of discussion just to finish up and wrap up with. Nothing too crazy. The first one I had was Dorr equals Saga's father, ? Are the three of us pretty united in just believing that is the case?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. I think that if they came back later and were like, actually, she's not, I think everybody would be like, boo.
Yeah, I think it would be a bit of a rug pull because we all figured it out.
I'd love to know more about his particular relationship to Saga.
Oh, yeah.
But, is it actually fatherly? Is he using her? Yada, yada, yada. I want to know more of his goals. Because if we're to take any of, the last episode here as different. Is Door a violent being? Or is he kind of just neutrally there? You know?
Oh, I think he's definitely got darkness in him. My theory, by the way, and Gaming University disagrees with me on this. If we're talking about your Remedy big bad, which whether or not they actually lead to that is a different thing. I don't think we're going to look at this like an Avengers thing, but if we do, we've either got Door or we've got Zane. There are two big bad potentials. I think it's Door. Gaming University thinks Zane. Gaming University thinks we're going to Zane.
So far, I haven't seen Door as a hugely malicious force. He's obviously creepy, does really bad things, but like I get much more of a will do anything to keep things in order kind of vibe, which could lead to a villain.
Oh, I can quickly just lay out my theory of the multiverse to you, just so you understand it. I laid out my critique. I don't have the picture, but long story short, we know that the Yggdrasil is the multiverse, is Remedy's multiverse. If we think about it that way, the Dark Place is the root of the multiverse. Sean Ashmore, Tim Breaker flags that he believes that there is like something about our universe, this Remedy main universe, seems to be the important one. That's like, and again, we can take a little bit, I think, of what he says as kind of gospel at this point, but he's like, something about this seems to be the main universe, and other universes spiral off of our universe. He believes that Door is the anchor. He's the thing that makes our universe important. Maybe it's him.
Which one is our universe? Is that Alan Wake's?
Bright Falls, as we've run around it.
So the Alan Wake universe is
The Alan Wake Control.
So not the Max Payne one, not
No, they're spin-offs.
Death Rally.
And if you think about it, almost like Night Springs as its own, like, because again, the multiverse is so vast, etc., etc. Night Springs could almost be like a branch, and then off those branches you get leaves, which is like the Waitress's leaf, or the Siblings leaf, or Quantum Break's leaf now, I guess. American Nightmare, all that sort of thing. That's the way I'm kind of thinking about it. So that means if we think of the Dark Place as the roots, that makes sense why it can connect to all universe and everything feeds into it. But yeah, so that's just kind of how I'm personally visualizing that right now to kind of get some grasp on it.
Yeah.
I also quite like that because if we're doing multiverse stuff, I would like a core universe, please.
Yeah.
I would like that a lot. I also would be happy if we just don't do multiverse stuff, like proper multiverse stuff like this. I don't need it. But...
I get the feeling that Alan Wake itself probably won't do much with the multiverse. I think it's going to do stuff with Dark Place, and it will do stuff with the normal thing.
Yeah.
Control, I think, will do very limited stuff with the multiverse, but I never think it's going to be a multiverse game.
You don't think so? You don't think, because Control is like the FBC. They're the people...
I know, but that's the thing. I think that if it does multiverses, it will do like one at a time kind of thing. I don't think it's ever going to have a game where they are going to 50 different multiverses, and the whole purpose is we are traveling between multiverses. I think that if we ever get that, it will be if they ever make a proper quote-unquote Quantum Break 2 / Timebreaker full-blown game.
I don't need that game.
I don't need it either, but I think that if they were to ever do it, because I'd like to see more than just Control and Alan Wake if we're doing a Remedy verse.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that, Timebreaker is a fair enough direction to put that in, because it can explore more stuff in more depth. It's now just difficult to think of what belongs to which universe primarily. Because now you're like, is Darling now primarily a
Alan Wake
character? Does that mean Zane may now appear in Control?
Well, Saga has been deputized into the FBC, and I think that's how they're going to keep her relevant moving forwards. I think she's going to become an FBC agent. I think that's how it'll be. I don't know if I'd like her appearing in Control.
I also thought that was just a one-off for that scene.
It arguably could be. I'm just saying that I think the door is open there if Saga goes, I saw some weird shit and I beat the Dark Presence. And they go, yeah, come and join us.
I think the door for that is more there so that the FBC can continue to appear in Alan Wake, as opposed. Because I think Saga will remain as an Alan Wake character.
I have no qualms with that. Bear in mind, she's
not going to leave Tor Odin in the lake now,
Well, so that leads me to my next one. So I've just written point 2. Lots of people in Dark Place now, question mark? So let's count them down. You were going to ask me about this earlier, Chase, about do I think that they're out of the Dark Place at the end? Yes, I do. I think that writer's room will open. Atti's going to open that door and they come out. We don't know until Lake House. We don't know what Lake House looks like. All we know is that like a one-sentence thing, which is like the Alan Wake and Saga Anderson join forces again to beat back the forces of darkness in the Lake House. So it's like that. Is that what happens next? Because surely Alan's next point is, I'm going back to the Dark Place. My fucking wife is there.
I suppose under that question, though, where is the writer's room?
What do you mean?
Where is it? Is it in Bright Falls? Is it in New York? Is it in the roof of I forget the name of that lake.
The Valhalla Nursing Home.
No, the one from Alan Wake 1, where they...
Oh, Bird's Like Cabin.
Is it in Bird's Like Cabin?
Maybe.
Is it in the Dark Place? Is it a threshold?
Is it
Does it
like
exist outside
room
of?
665 where it's a pocket dimension?
Is it a pocket dimension? Like,
Because, you know, if Ati can open the door and suddenly, so does that imply that Alan was really in the Valhalla nursing home for the entire game?
Obviously, what is Ati is an outstanding one.
Yeah.
Which I would leave to a Control game to explore more, presumably.
Yeah, I also don't think we're ever going to get that.
Yeah, and and you know what? I'm
I'm
fine with not getting answers to everything.
Yeah.
You know,
But not Tom Zane.
Yeah,
Tom Zane needs to be explained.
Yeah. Why does he have his face?
Let's talk about Tom Zane for a sec.
Tom the Diver.
So clearly we're heading there. So something I forgot to mention to you that was a tiny thing that has been... Someone found this, and then an audio engineer from Remedy was like, I'm so glad you guys finally found this.
Oh.
When Alan, in the Dark Place,
Yeah.
illuminates the yellow paint in the subway station, we hear a diver breathing. The sound of a diver breathing.
Wow.
An audio engineer on someone was like, this is weird. Is that Tom the Diver's breathing, like from the first game? And an audio engineer retweeted that tweet and said, I can't believe you guys have finally found this. I'm so happy. So it's a purposeful sound effect that has been put in there when Alan lights up Yggdrasil or any of the yellow paint. It's like, oh, so are we to believe perhaps the yellow paint helping Alan out and stuff
So-
is Diver Zane?
I can now go into some conversations we've had, which may actually go to one of your other points, which is we have talked that Tom the Diver, specifically from the Alan Wake 1 DLCs, may not be Tom at all. It may be the Bright Presence who has just taken the form of that and who has now moved over to Alice.
We'll get to Alice in two. Hold Alice for a sec because I want to focus on Zane for now.
Skip some of your...
We're going to get to Alice in a minute. She's different. Zane. It is pretty widely accepted at this point that Tom the Diver in Alan Wake 1 and the DLC, not Thomas Zane. That is a construct that Alan wrote into being when he wrote Departure, inspired by the pictures and the newspaper clippings and the poetry and all that stuff.
So
Tom the
different
Poet, maybe different story.
No idea.
No idea. Well, when Samantha Wells' blog tells us that Tom the Poet visited her and was like, hey, me and my wife are in a pocket universe dealing with our own shit away from all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Here's like my poem. And he said that he created the pocket universe creating his masterworks, his master poem. This is all random blog shit,
His
right?
wife.
His wife, sorry, not wife, girlfriend, Barbara Jagger. Girlfriend, Barbara Jagger. Very important that. And when they did that, it's almost like that's where their souls have gone, but they left behind their physical bodies. The Dark Presence then took Barbara Jagger's physical body.
What do we know about that? I thought that you were just, your soul was done for, was just kind of along for the ride and deep down. I didn't know it could just take a body.
We're talking Dark Place shit. I don't want to get into the ramifications of, like, do the enemy types we fight still have their soul? I don't know. But focusing on these characters.
Mind you, I guess Nightingale was dead for ages before.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting...
So their souls went off into that little pocket universe far away. Whether that's room 665 or somewhere else, I don't know. But I think it's a separate thing that we haven't seen. Leaving behind these two shells, Barbara Jagger's shell and Thomas Zane's shell. The Dark Presence we know took Barbara Jagger's shell because then she's running around in Alan Wake 1. So what took Tom Zane's
Wait,
shell?
no. I'm going to push back on that again because I think the Dark Presence to create an entity like Barbara Jagger has to have an opening in the form of darkness and fear and hate and anger in that person. If it was just a body, there's nothing to possess.
Yeah.
That's the only way the Dark Presence works. You either fight it with your light, or your darkness is nommy for it, and it.
Unless this Dark Presence only taking dark people is a retcon for Alan Wake 2, because we know a lot of stuff was retcon for Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is now our new Ground Zero.
Well, then we have to go from this Ground Zero logic, don't we?
Yeah. There's also a very...
Well, not from what happened in the past, though. That stuff could have still happened in the past and then be retconned.
Not
What we're getting into, it's difficult. It is difficult.
There's also a very curious, and I thought of this, I never thought of this while we were playing the game, so I thought of this while we were doing the lore dump, is how so much of this game, especially now that it is live action, is filmography. It is Alan Wake filmography.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a question of, have they added in so much filmography to kind of emphasize the fact that Alan could be Tom?
Yeah, so, yeah, you're right. I don't want to take this from Gaming University as his theory that he's going to explore himself, so I don't know the rams of it. But Gaming University, I don't think I agree with this, but I think it's interesting. Gaming University theorizes that all the writing videos we get of Alan having his breakdown, that's actually Tom Zane playing Alan.
Interesting.
Which I think is interesting. Tom Zane, right, so... Tom motherfucking Zane. There's a bunch of theories on this. People have theorized that Tom Zane is American Nightmare Scratch because he has a wedding ring, and we had in American Nightmare, Tom's Scratch was like, do you know I've got a wedding ring? We're that similar. Why does Tom Zane have a wedding ring? Because he was never married. He only had a girlfriend. This is why I keep trying to emphasize that point. Second to that is, we hear, "Told you I'm a psycho," happy song when the two of them are writing. But in hindsight, I think that what that song being there, Scratch's kind of song, is a hint that he's writing with a possessed Alan Wake, i.e. Scratch, in that moment. Yeah. That's why that song is being
Yeah. It could be that. It could also be the fact that American Nightmare Scratch was kind of explicitly stated that that was a Scratch creative, Alan's darkness, Alan's dark side. He was this, bohemian writer who would think... So that might have just been, this is an Alan who's acting like...
But I think we can all agree that's probably unrelated.
It's probably not it. Like, we're kind of... It's just... People... when I say this, I'm not, people are clinging to this. I've had comments on my Alan Wake 2 critique being like, why are you getting so confused about Tom Zane? He's obviously American Nightmare Scratch. I think they're done with American Nightmare Scratch.
There is also, in a very curious...
We're never going to see him again.
In a very curious kind of Occam's razor here, they don't have the same accent. It's not the same voice actor.
You're totally right.
Which,
Which brings me to the fact that Tom the Diver in Alan Wake 1 was voiced by James McCaffrey, not voiced by Ilka Vili. So again...
talking mannerisms talks nothing like Tom.
So again, Tom the filmmaker is a different entity from Alan Wake 1's Tom. I think we can very much kind of take that.
Whether Tom the poet is also a third entity, who knows?
What I think Tom, I don't know, when I say what, I think I know what Tom is up to. I am not convinced that Tom wants to escape. I'm not convinced he wants to escape the dark place.
Do you think he wants to control the dark place?
Yeah, I think... So my thing is that we've just learned from this game and from all the Night Spring stuff that effectively the dark place is a means of glimpsing into gajillions of realities. It's inspiration central. And here's the notable thing. The only two movies that we... Ignore Death Rally. The only two movies that we know that Tom's made. The two movies that we know people have said... The movies are bloody great, by the way. In universe, people think these movies are incredible. Both based off works by Alan Wake. Yeah. Alan has spent all this time going, Mr. Tom saying, can you help me escape the dark place? And Tom's response is to go, let me get you high, get you drunk, get you writing, so I can steal your ideas and turn them into my movies. I think he's a fucking parasite. I think that's his villainousness.
It might be. One curiousness that I have is that if going back to kind of the dark place is the root of many worlds in this, why does Dor seem ultimately uninterested in the dark place then? Like, if this is the Nexus and he is also the Nexus,
because he can go anywhere.
Why? Sure, but why? You think that if they are both a Nexus of many worlds, then they'd be intrinsically linked? But
again,
he's here.
He's here because of the people who are here. There's Alan and Saga, both characters that it's clear that he has some form of invested interest.
And I don't think the primary purpose of the dark place is to act as a corridor between realities. No. It's a byproduct of its very nature.
Sure, but if that's why Zane wants it, is because it can do that.
Well, we don't know exactly why Zane wants it, but do you know what? It did just occur to me, if he does have a nefarious plot for, I need to know how to better utilise this all better, how to better understand and control the darkness, who could he use on his side? One of the great scientific minds on the subject.
Yes, who knows a lot about many worlds.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I think that he's up to something multiverse stuff. I think we do Zane, we do multiverse stuff. And I don't mean we're going to be reality hopping like this. Like, this is wonderful and fun, and Timebreaker's great, but it is also very hokey, and it's a multiversal road trip. And Remedy have probably picked up from that what that does to pacing in a multiversal road trip, which is like, okay, we're here for 15 minutes, this is fun, look, we're doing a side 2 thing, onto the thing, and that's fun, but for a 30-hour video game, I have no interest in that personally. I think you do Zane, you do multiverse stuff. I think he's feeding off of, this is Gaming University's theory. My theory is he's a parasite. Gaming University adds dimension to this, which is, what if Tom Zane's whole thing is that if we're dealing with multiversal Tom, what if his whole thing is, I want to just effectively absorb Tom Zane's from different realities and steal their art and claim that art is mine? And if Alan is just a variant of him, he's basically going, Alan, come in here, I'm going to take all your work and magic juices, and then one day you'll just get killed by Scratch or whatever, who cares? But at that point, I've got all your masterworks and I've turned them into my movies. Death Rally. Tom the Rhymer is, if we're going to say Tom the Rhymer is a Thomas Zane variant, are we saying perhaps that Thomas Zane found Tom the Rhymer and was like, give me your ideas, turn it into my movie, thank you very much, bye-bye. Like, is that what he's doing? Because that is interesting if that's what he's doing.
But then if we're saying that he's also named Tom in every universe, why is this one named Alan?
Great point. And also, why are there two Toms in this universe?
And why does everyone call him Tom?
They don't have to be stealing just from his own variants. That might be a coincidence, because look at Darling. You know, maybe he's preparing to be... A lot of what we've seen him do is convince people to create in his presence.
Yeah.
And he was manipulating
He
Alan.
just wants to create dynamite.
I flagged it earlier, but like when Alan has Tom and he's got the gun to his head, and Tom basically goes like, when you find him, don't hesitate, shoot him and kill him for what he's done to us. Thomas Zane knows that it's possessed Alan Wake stuck in a loop. So why is he trapping Alan in a loop? He's like, if he kills himself, he stays in that loop. So he's like, yeah, go and kill him. He's a bastard. Do it. Don't hesitate, Alan. Don't think about it. Don't ask him any questions. Yeah. Shoot him. Like, he's purposely trapped in a loop.
Oh, you clever boy.
On trapping a loop, can we talk about Alice?
Can I go back?
Oh, you got more Zane stuff? Sure.
I've got more multiverse stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where's the Ocean View?
That's another one.
What is the Ocean View?
What is the Ocean
Is the Ocean View yet a third Nexus of Many Worlds?
I don't know. Because that was my reading initially, was that the Ocean View is a Nexus of Many Worlds. We also had the running theory that the Ocean View's doors led to different universes. Is that the case? Because there's only 6 doors, and they don't have polyhedrons on them.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's many Nexuses, and the Ocean View leads to the Nexuses. Like, leads to the Dark Place, leads to the oldest house. You know, these important buildings.
Remind me, when Jesse peered into one and saw Alan and Tom, was that the spiral door?
Spiral door.
Why?
Because the spiral door is the Dark Place door.
Cool. But why did the spiral door lead to room 665 and not to the writer's room?
Good question. Don't know. No.
Yeah.
Because video game, I think that might be because video game.
I'm so curious. Like, obviously, we thought that the Ocean View was going to be such a control thing.
Yeah.
And now it's played such a massive, heavy part in Alan Wake. And it's like, what are you gonna now appear in the Timebreaker game? Are you gonna appear suddenly, randomly in the Max Payne remakes? What is happening?
I think the only thing we can agree on here is that Thomas Zane needs more explanation. There's every chance we do that in Lake House, by the way. There is every chance that we deal with Tom Zane stuff in Lake House. But I don't know.
There's also just such a weird thing of, what the fuck is Lake House gonna be? We can talk about that later, but...
Well, we're coming towards the end, so I've got 3 more things. Let me give you a very easy one. Odin's eye patch is on a different eye in the live action. Now, we've talked about this before. The idea that it's Odin's eye, it's younger Odin before he lost any eye, etc., etc., etc. That's fine. I want to go back to the idea that Dor has Odin's eye. Why? And I want to add in there as an extra dimension, you might remember what happens... You might remember this from my critiques, I talk about it. Quantum Break, Martin Hatch. Do you remember how he dies? No. There's 2 ways he can die depending on your choices. The first is he gets shot in the eye, in the right eye, or he gets stabbed in the left eye, and then he's doing the drops the whole time. Somehow Dor keeps connecting to eyes. Hatch eyes, Dor eyes.
Odin's eye thing is that he puts out his eye in exchange for knowledge in the mythology. He puts out his eye as a sacrifice to himself to gain more sort of knowledge of the world and power as a result. So I don't know, what would he be doing with his eye? I mean, what can Thor and Odin do related to their eyes?
We don't know. I just wanted to kind of put it in there that it's suspect, I think, that both Dor and Hatch have both done an eye thing. I just think it's interesting. Lots of people in the Dark Place now. Just to do a quick recap. Thor and Odin, who have basically said, we're not coming back. We're pretty happy down here. We feel like young men, and there's worlds to explore the Sea of Night. And we get to be with Baldur. How is Baldur here? I don't know. Don't ask. Don't gonna bother. Maybe we'll learn that dead people come here and this is actually the afterlife. I mean, it's referred to as the underworld at points. I don't think
I'm so curious if we will ever get a Remedy afterlife.
I don't know.
Thor and Odin are down here. Alice is down here. Tim Breaker is down here. Casper Darling is down here. Tom Zane is down here. Dor can leave at any time, but he is currently down there. And Alan, I think... Alan's whole thing, Master of Many Worlds. So, we talked about the hero's journey and about how there's many, many endings. We're going to talk about critique. Many, many ways that hero's journey can end. Alan's technically ends all of the ways. It has the magical flight when he runs. There's a big chase sequence from Scratch. He runs away from him. He ends not as the Master of Two Worlds, but the Master of Many Worlds. The return home is the only one that's outstanding, but he's going to have to go home, the Dark Place, or the go back. That he goes back to get Alice. Like, I break it down much better in my critique. I don't remember all the beats of it, but I worked through each one. I was like, nope, this lines up, this lines up, this lines up. In the end, Alan's hero's journey ends with all potential conclusions of a hero's journey. It's very clever. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I don't care.
No, you definitely aren't, because that's the whole point of this game, is that he learned that
stuff, yeah.
you can be a hero.
But lots of people in the Dark Place now, and we've got to get them out. That is the future of Alan Wake, is that we're not leaving Tim Breaker down there and just going, casualty of war. You know, we're not. Alan will have to go back, and I think Lake House will be Alan goes back into the Dark Place.
Do we think, at the end of this game, Scratch is gone. Scratch dealt with the light bullet.
Gone.
Is the dark presence gone?
No. Scratch is the dark presence given form and turned into its own version.
So does this now mean that the dark presence can no longer possess people? Because what's to stop the dark presence from now just possessing Alan again, making Scratch 2.0?
I think you could argue that the answer is that it'd be boring. I think we're done with not torch and dark monsters. I get it. We can keep doing that, but like we don't need it for Alan Wake 3 if there is one. We're just I'm kind of done with the shadow monsters personally. The dark presence is fine. Scratch is cool.
Yeah.
Shadow monsters I'm done with.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I get that you want to do your torch and stuff. By the way, Alan Wake 3, let me play as Alice. I don't give a fuck. Let me play as Alice with photography stuff and let me do all that in the Dark Place. I would play the shit out of that. I was gutted because I thought one of the Night Springs would be Alice, but we didn't get it.
If we could get an Alice one where it's kind of like she has Alan-esque sections that are just puzzles.
Yeah.
But better puzzles this time.
You could call Alan Wake 2, you could call Alan Wake 3 Alan Wake 3 and just have you be playing as Alice Wake. Because Alan is still important. You know?
I've got no clue. Like, obviously Alan Wake 3, the rescue mission, but since... Like, I don't know where the actual story will be.
I think you're putting a lot on Lake House.
I think you're underestimating how much was on AWE. AWE effectively set up all of this that we covered today. It predicts 80% of Alan Wake 2. It's mad.
Which, to be fair, given that, as we were talking about off camera, Remedy have confirmed this is not there to set up Control 2. If it does just as much lore reveals, they'll all be Alan Wake-centric.
Last thing to talk about is Alice capturing the loop. I just kind of want to talk about that because we did all just kind of, you just take it and you go, yeah, sure, Alice, you're the architect of this spiral and it's fine. But just to kind of talk about the mechanics of that, I don't think it's very well put together in the game mechanically. I think Alice should show up a bit more. Maybe just have her cameras appear as a couple of camera jump scares or something. But that line of like photography from capture the infinite, put a cage around the infinite and capture it. So it's the idea that almost each loop that we get with Alan, remember he does his 4 loops where he dies and stuff. It's almost like she like bottles that so Alan doesn't fall out the bottom of it and keep going. And she goes, right, go, stick that on the shelf, you're onto the next one, onto the shelf, and he's going up. If that makes sense. That's how I visualized it in my head. What is Alice? Is she now just an omniscient camera? Is she the bullet of light? I know, because there is a theory, and I don't like it, which is now that Alice and Alan are now united as one being. And she is not, in fact, trapped in the dark place. She was inside the bullet of light, and now they're one being. I personally would despise that because it undermines her characterization in this game. Yeah. Her entire arc this game is about stepping out of his shadow and becoming her own artist. So to then combine these two...
With his face.
And there's also... I don't think there's really any evidence to go there.
No, I don't,
What the fuck the bullet of light is?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
That is even more MacGuffin-y than the clicker was.
There's a thought process that Lake House, we will see the other half of the other end of those calls. You know, you had future Alan and future Alice calling Saga and Alan. We might see the other end of those calls. I don't think we will, but I think it's there. Last one. Really important. The price to be paid, because this is the big question that everyone keeps asking, and I think it's a very obvious answer. What price do Alan and Saga pay when all is said and done? The heroes have to pay a price. Logan survives and Casey survives. Alice
Their
survives.
loved ones are in the dark place. Is one
Alice is. Logan and Casey aren't.
That's not a price, though. Especially not if you can go back and get them.
Well, how many only one person ever has been successfully retrieved properly from the dark place. It's hardly like it's like hell. It's like hell. You know?
And he had to become a god or something to do that.
I would probably rather die than go through what Alan went through. You know?
Exactly my point. My belief is that the price to be paid is simply they have to do this all again and again and again until we get to the final draft. And I mean, if you literally have to go through believing that you killed your wife, 100 times. I think that's a price that's paid. If Saga has to go through believing that her daughter is dead, or she's fighting monster men in the woods that are naked and have rib cages and trying to kill her and stuff 100 times, I think a price is paid there. Maybe you could argue that as a bit of a writing away answer, but I don't think it is. I think the final draft is the price that they pay. We do it all again, and it sucks. Like for them, it's great for me.
I'm so curious how much of Alan Wake 3 they have kind of structured out.
None. I don't think a single bit of it. I think they're going to get through Control 2, and then they'll look at Phase 2.
I'm not saying that, but I mean, I don't think that in a story that it obviously has a conclusion that you can write a good this story unless you know where it's going after.
There might not be an Alan Wake 3. Alan is some demiurge now, apparently. So, like, what do you do? I mean, I think you just stick him in the dark place and have him go up against Tom Zane. And Tom Zane's like, I'm controlling the dark place now. Blah, blah, blah. Here's some weird monsters to fight. And Alan's like, I can't write my way out of this one because I'm in Tom's story. What you do with Alan Wake is you trap him in someone else's story. How do you fix that?
Yeah, you put him at the whims of... Well, he's kind of already been... Because he's sort of been at the whims of his writing without knowing it.
Yeah, but that's how he was able to change it. Can you change... It's a question that we don't have answered. Can you take another artist's work and bolt onto it? Does the magic work that way? You know, if you're like, oh, and then it ended this way. Could Alan write a new verse for Tor and Odin's song and make that work? I don't know. Does the artist have ownership over that work? Lots of questions, lots that we've talked about. We will come back to this when we cover Lake House, but for now, we are done.
Remind me, do we have a vague timeline of February?
Okay. Right now, when this episode is out, maybe. But right now, I don't even have a release date. I'm anticipating October. I'm anticipating a Halloween release, but we don't know. Don't know. Might be early 2025. I would love a break.
I'll have to rebeat it on my PS5 so I can have my platinum trophy there and not just on the gross Epic Game Store.
We're gonna say goodbye, and before we do, we're gonna play you a little tease of what comes next. What did you think of that tease?
Aw, that's such a beautiful beach. I don't know why it's covered in blood, though.
Oh, God, all right. You're going to have to send me whatever clip you just described.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Extra, read all about it. Spotify, now with videos. Come and watch your favourite podcast videos on the spot. What's that, boy? Come here, let me see that. Well, sir, Spotify have now put fucking videos on it so you can watch your shut up. You can watch your favourite podcast. Boy, Spotify's just for my favourite musical artists, audio podcasts, and erotica novels that I read while my wife's asleep. But sir, no, there's videos on it too, so you can watch the video that would have been somewhere else, but while you doing your podcast. Oh, I don't understand. The world is changing so fast.